go-to show for everything poetry, hip-hop, and entertainment. I'm your host, Mona Baudet, and we've got a dope show for you today. So sit back, relax, and let's get this party started right. Hey, what is going on, everybody? First of all, I am so happy to be back. I feel like I was on a long vacation, and I couldn't wait till today, right? I'm so happy. So we're gonna get started. First of all, I want to welcome everybody to Uptown with Mona. We meet every Monday at 7 p.m. And I also have another day. So I have two locations now. I have this show, and then on Thursday at 6 p.m. I'm on withoutwarningradio.com, and that's audio. Beautiful show. So yeah, I'm happy, y'all. One thing I want to say, my Cash App, Uptown with Mona. Um, Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell another friend. Let's get this party going. And so now I want to tell you something. I have to tell you about this guy. This guy is the love of my life. I love him so much. He's such a dope, dope poet, dope hip hop artist. He's just dope. So let's bring up Mr. Kasim because I want to talk about him. I definitely need y'all to know everything about him. He's gonna tell us what he can. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, Kasim. I love you very much. And thank you so much for coming on and blessing us with your presence, my love.
Peace, Mona. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me. Love you too. You already know. You know.
yeah.
Yeah. You got me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I like to always ask my people, how was your day?
had a good day. Any day spent with the babies is always a good day. The babies are the greatest.
How about that? And you do? What do you do?
I'm an elementary school teacher. I'm the music teacher.
Okay.
I used to teach first grade, and they offered me the music opportunity, and I had to take that. I had to take that. That's what I do. That's my love. You know what I mean? So
How
now
about
I
that?
hip hop all day.
How about that? We've been doing this for so long, right? Might as well get paid, really get paid to do it.
That part. That part.
So now the theme of the show is called 16 bars, right? I
Okay.
asked you 16 questions and we take it from there. All
Let's
right.
get it. Let's
So
get
I'm
it.
going to ask you the first question. Okay, hold on. I can't see. What was the first poem or rap you ever wrote, and how does it compare to your work today?
First rhyme I ever wrote, I was 10. So, you can imagine it's a little bit different today. You know, um, 10 for me was 1980. The first time I ever really tried spitting, I was 8. So we talking 78. I'm a hip hop baby. When hip hop started, I was right there growing up right with it. And
Mm-hmm.
I was always impressed about, how these kids from the city, that I would hear on the radio, pretty much like Treacherous 3, and then like how these kids from New York City could tell stories over beats, and they rhymed and they were on time, and I was just intrigued by it. So I didn't know you were supposed to write rhymes or any of that. I was young, so I would just walk around saying raps, what I mean, trying to rap. I had no idea that I was freestyling and nothing like that. It was fun. There was, no inclination in my mind that I was going to be putting out records and doing all that other stuff. But, here we go. Fast forward a bunch of years later, and I'm here. But yeah, my first rhyme I wrote in 1980. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Half the verse I wrote, the other half I couldn't think of anything else, so I quoted, a joint from Tito.
Okay.
And
Yes,
I
yes.
actually ran into Tito as a poet. After doing a show in Harlem, he
Mm.
had to be there, and I told him about the rhyme, and he
Wait,
was
Tito
like,
from the Fearless Four?
"Yeah, yeah."
Mm-hmm.
I ran into Tito, and I told him about the rhyme, and he was like, "For real?" I'm like, "Yeah, I bit your joint. I was 10, this, that, and he was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Word." So I remembered it, so I spit it for him. And when I got to his part, he was like, "Yo, that's me." I'm like, "That's what I'm telling you." You know what I mean? You were my favorite rapper at that point. You know what I mean? You had the dopest bars that fit with the joint I wrote, and I put your joint in mine so I could have a complete verse. He was like, "Yo, that's crazy," but it was an honor for him, to have that happen and to have me remember that and spit it for him. It
Yes.
feels the same way when people hit me back with verses that I've written and stuff like that. Some of their favorites. I'm like, it's a crazy honor to have that much influence over somebody's life creatively.
Yes, yes, yes. I understand. Cause Fearless Four, I love the Fearless Four. I just interviewed Mike C a few
That's
months
what's up.
back. That's my dude,
Mike
man. We talk,
C.
right? We talk all the time. That is my
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
And he always mentions, how that what he went through and how when he was young growing up trying to, starting out. And I always wanted to be a hip hop artist, but that wasn't my thing. I went towards house music, and then I came back to hip hop.
yeah.
So I'm like back and forth. I'm like double dutch. I go back and forth. I'm in and out. I'm in and
That's
out.
what I'm talking
Love it.
about. If it's in you, it's in you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So here we go. How do you define your poetic or hip hop style, and how has it evolved over the years?
Good question. I'm a very socio-political minded, socio-politically minded poet slash
Hmm.
MC. I'm community minded. I'm an activist as well. Especially before I was dad, I was very active in the streets with the babies. I'm out there teaching. Y'all know I'm a 5%er. You
Right.
know, our duty is to teach. So I'm always out there with somebody's children. Now I'm in the school, so I have an even greater impact, and that's beautiful because I get to mold their minds every day.
Right.
Um, my poetry is very much symbolic of that. When I first got into spoken word, I was coming from hip hop. I got my first deal in '93, and right around the time that they had that meeting with the prison industrial complex, you know,
Hmm.
some of the heads of the industry, label industry, heads, where they made an agreement to invest in the prison and complex. And I remember my management telling me, to cut my locks and, use my deep voice to rap to the girls like Father MC. And this is a quote, right? So I told him, I'm like, that's not who I am. And he was like, well, we at so and so are no longer in the business of teaching. So I shook hands and I stepped. You
Right.
know, I couldn't do that. I'm not compromising myself like that. I ain't no biter. I grew up where you had to be original or they snatching the mic from you. They might even whoop your butt. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Would, period. Ain't no might. They would have whooped your ass, you know what I'm saying, out there fronting and being a biter. So that's not what I come from. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
The cloth that I'm cut from is original. I teach that I'm the original man, we the original people. You know what I mean? So original means first. You gotta be the first one to have your concept, your style. Today they say your swag or your drip. Everything about you gotta come from you. I
Yes.
had when I was young. I used to, break dance battle and all that. I rhyme, I do graffiti. I just couldn't DJ. That I wasn't good at that. I was
Right. Right. Right.
you know.
you
I
know, I
got
was I wanted to be I was the first 5% of when I first got into high school. I was like, hanging out with the gods and the earths and stuff. And
mm,
I was like, nah, it's too restricted for me. It was too restricted for me. And
okay, I hear you.
yeah, at
Mm,
15, hell yeah, at 15, I'm like, okay, this
yeah.
sounds cool, but you know what? I don't know about this.
Mm,
I gotta, and I went another route again. Here we go with another route because Mona always got to go the other way. You
I hear
know
you. I mean, you got to make the choices that that fit you well. You know what I mean?
exactly. Wait,
You
where
put your
did
feet
you?
up.
You're not from New York. You're not from Harlem. Where you from?
I'm from New Rochelle.
That's what I thought. I thought it was New Rochelle.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I want to, before we go to the next question, I want to tell the audience who's ever here, if you have any questions, put them in the chat and I'll make sure to ask the questions. Okay. I know there's a guy here that just said something. He said, hey to you. I forgot. I'm trying to see. It was
Mm,
where's the question? I don't know. I'll find it. All
okay.
right. Question 3. Where you at? Question 3. Can you describe the moment when you knew you wanted to pursue poetry seriously?
Oh yes, most definitely. So I was visiting my sister. She's living in the Bay Area. And she had some poets visiting. They were the Nuyorican Grand Slam champs. They were on a Nuyorican team.
Mhm.
And, I'm fresh off of, my deal. I mean, well, the end of my deal, my group breaking up is around 2000.
Mhm.
And, you know, brothers was poets and I thought poetry was cool, you know what I'm saying? So, it was Talam AC and Faraji
Yes.
Salim, right?
Yes.
And I didn't know the brothers, you know what I'm saying? But, they were cool people. We hanged
Mhm.
out and everything. And I told Talam one day, I was like, y'all poets are cool, but you need some. And I started beatboxing kind of in his face. It was it was a little disrespectful, right? But I wasn't intending to be disrespectful. It was just my ego leading the way. I was a young MC.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Yeah, I used to do that." And in my mind, I'm like, "I don't know you, so what are we talking about, right?" And
Right.
he's like, "Yeah, well, we got some shows coming up, and you could check them out." And I was like, "Bet." I had been to one spoken word show before. I took a date to a spoken word night one night. It was cool, but I didn't take it seriously. And we on our way to San Jose. It was the show, and it
Mhm.
took 2 hours to get there from Oakland. It was raining. It was like car accidents and stuff, all over the highway and everything. We finally got there to the theater, and there was no power. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, what they gonna do now? And it looked like everybody in the audience kind of had a candle in their pocket because
Wow.
everybody lit candles. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but there's no mics, there's no monitor speakers, there's nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And they tore the place down, like literally, just like that. And I was intrigued. I was in awe, actually. I'm like, how the hell? I'm like, whoa. And with no music, no nothing, just their voices and their
Mhm.
words, they moved everybody, me included. So out of them 9 shows that they had, I went to every one just like a groupie. I ain't even gonna front. You know what I mean? Every time they was out, I was out. So the last show, they had a joint that Talam Faraji and they would do with Lamar Hill, and it's called The Wickedest Man in Babylon. And
Mm.
I did not. I mean, well, he wasn't there, and Talam was like, "Yo, why don't you get on the stage and say one of your rhymes, like a poem?"
Right.
In my mind, I could do that, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and my sister had just told me before all that, she was like, "Man, why don't you write a poem?" And I'm like, I ain't doing that poetry stuff. So fast forward, now I'm at this show, and he asked me to do the joint, so I had a joint for it, so I'm like, sure. Talam goes, the crowd is like, ah. Faraji goes, the crowd is like, ah.
You go
I went,
on.
the crowd was like, all right, brother, keep on writing, all right. Oh shit, that never happened before. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
um it stopped me in my tracks. It was like a challenge to me. So by the time we got back to my sister's rest, I wrote 2 joints that night. You know what I'm saying? It's 10 p.m. and I forgot what the other one was. I think it was Mr. Right,
Okay.
poem about the former pastor of my grandmother's church.
Okay.
And both of those poems are on my first album, my first spoken word album, Just Words. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But that night, and so as soon as we got back to New York, Talon told me they had a spot, called Euphoria, had an open mic there. So I'm open now. So I want to go and do some poetry. So I would lead a barbershop. I'm a barber as well. So I would lead a barbershop, by like say 7:30. I'd get to Newark by like 8:30, like no, about 8:15, you know what I mean? Just in time for the show. Sign up. Didn't know the difference between an open mic and a slam list. I
Right.
They said, well, you could do 3 poems here or you could do one here. So I wanted to do 3. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
here go my ego again. So I jumped into the slam. Didn't know it was a slam. My first round was a 10. My second round was a 10. My third round was like a 96 point something. And then
Uh-huh.
there was this sister, she jumped on the stage, and her first round was a 10, second 10, third 10. And Narubi Selah just bust my
Ooh, ooh,
right.
Narubi.
And I was like,
Narubi. Oh
"Ooh,
my God, I
yo,
love
she was
Narubi.
the beast," right? And I was like, "Yo, she's
Yes.
incredible." And then
Mhm.
she was around some gods. You know what I mean? She had knowledge herself, so we was kicking it and building, and she was good people's. And I
Mhm.
came back, and I kept coming back and coming back and coming back. And then I started, googling poetry spots, in New York.
Mhm.
My cousin who was in Harlem, he's in Harlem Hospital. He's a dentist. He was telling me about the Sugar Shack. So I started
Uh-huh.
going to the Sugar Shack, and that became my home, but I wanted to do some more. And by Googling, I found Hottest Poets.
Mhm.
And there, and I got in the slam again. You know what I'm saying? And I won a little $50 the time I was there. Like,
Okay.
was it top 10 or top 5 or something like that? Right. And I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. So I kept coming back. And then I started winning that joint, and winning and winning and winning. And I was like, hold up, you know what I mean? and damn, there was a salary to me. You know what I'm saying? And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa, this is what I'm talking about. And I started making connections and traveling and getting booked between there and the Sugar Shack. Now I'm going to different states. I'm teaching poetry workshops. Next thing you know, I got hooked up with like a talent agent and started booking commercials, doing voiceovers from poetry. I won the Sprite spoken word night. You know, that got me some Sprite commercials. Then I signed to an agency, joined SAG, um, went to went to London, as one of the hottest poets on that slam team versus the UK. Um,
Wow.
we kicked their ass out there. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? They say we split it, but I know what really happened. They voted for their people, but we did our thing. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes, yes.
Won one, we won the other one, but more importantly, I made some great, connections and great friends out there. Like even one of them named a child after me, which was dope. And they sent
Mm-hmm.
word through hottest poets, you know what I mean? So I found out at the slam. It's like, damn, I got a Kasim in London. You know what I'm saying? That was really dope.
Wow.
It's opened up a lot of worlds for me. You know what I mean? Like I have been teaching a little bit, visual arts in an
Mm-hmm.
alternative school, but once I started doing poetry, I started getting, poetry workshop gigs, and then they offered me a job in the schools. And 20 plus years later, I'm still in schools. I'm still teaching. I was a counselor. I've been a dean. I've been so many different things. And now I'm a full time teacher. I'm back in school, getting more certifications. Like, poetry opened that door in a big way.
Yes, yes, yes. Look at that. From an 8-year-old biting off a rhyme
No,
to
10,
where
I was
you
biting.
a
10,
10,
I
I'm
was
sorry,
biting.
10 you was
You know,
biting.
I bit off
And
Tito,
today,
respect Tito.
listen, you got Faraji said, "What's up?"
Peace.
William Washington, D
Ah,
Cross,
warrior.
D
Peace, peace.
Cross, D Cross said,
Cross was
"What's
on
up?"
the squad with us out there.
Yes, yes, I know. I know.
Yeah,
Good evening, y'all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
yeah. Peace, family. Peace, everybody. Yeah.
So William asks, do you teach poetry to your students?
I allowed him. It's a hip hop course. It's songwriting and music production. I'm actually building a studio there with him too. I'm gonna be recording them, shooting
Nice.
videos on them. We're putting together this big musical. Between myself, the dance teacher, and the visual arts teacher, we already started a script for them. You know what I mean? The children have already done the song. That's the basis, of the was the basis of the story for the play.
Mm-hmm.
I do let them write poems. Not everybody want to rap. Some of them sing, so I help them with the singing. I help them with the poetry. Some of them just want to write prose, and just express their points. Art is free creative expression, so I let them express themselves the way they choose to. But
Right.
just today, we were just freestyling in class today. You know what I mean? And I'm giving them instructions off the top of the head. They like, you really do this. I'm like, yeah. Can we watch some of your videos? I'm like, nah, we're not gonna do that. You know what I mean? I ended up folding and showing them one. You know what I'm saying? But I always encourage them to focus on themselves. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like if you want to hear something from me, whatever I assign to you, I do with you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if they got to write about whatever, I'm writing about whatever too, and then I'll spit my joint right there for them. There's plenty of
Nice.
beats, and it's a dope situation. So yes, they do write poetry. They write hip hop. They write, most importantly, they write themselves. You know what I mean? I get them to
Yes.
to hold a mirror up to themselves so they can learn about who they are. I encourage them, I empower them. You know what I mean? And I help them to do that for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I love it. I just love it. Okay, so question 4. What is the significance of language and word choice in your poetry?
I speak the language of the people, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how you are universal. It's important to be universal, not to speak above the people's heads, and not to lead them in places that they're not accustomed to be. I strive to speak the language of the people.
Okay.
And I'm always speaking to us first. you know
Mm-hmm.
so if I need to speak some slang, they gonna get some slang. If I need to curse, I'm gonna cuss you out. If I need to speak, I always say I'm bilingual. I speak block and I speak boardroom. So if I need to speak boardroom, then I do it. I'll articulate as such. Um,
Right.
it's whatever is necessary to reach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because most importantly, it's about turning that light on in the eyes of the people so that they can start to see. Give them a clear understanding. Which is a clear picture in the mind drawn up through knowledge and wisdom from paying attention to what's going on around you, what's being said around you. You know what I mean? And once that light is turned on, people are on go. And my
Yes.
my
Yes.
my, my duty is to get you on go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He said, William asks, do you recite romantic poetry? Only when I forced him to recite poetry, romantic poetry, remember?
I'm gonna put my Wet Spot album on Bandcamp
Oh, you got
soon.
a wet spot. Okay.
Well, I did. That was the second album I did. I did Just Words, then I did the
Yes.
Wet Spot, then I did
Yes.
Ghetto Messiah, then it was Street Politics, no Hood Politics, and then Street Poetic. No, Street Poetic is an EP, and then Subway Bomber. You know what I mean? Those are the five, CDs or poetry albums I put out.
Make sure you
And
send me those links so I could post them
as
for
soon
you.
as I put them up, no doubt.
Make
And then
sure.
the book I
Yeah.
wrote, Love, Life, and Liberation. I still have the manuscript, so I'm about to do that. I just started a publishing company again, so I'm about to
Very
put that out.
nice.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
So I'm gonna put the book back out too. You know what I mean?
Make
Yeah,
sure you make sure you send me everything so that way I could post it up for you. So here we are. Where we at? Number
uh,
5. How do you balance personal experience with the universal themes in your work?
they come from my personal experiences, the things I've been through, the things I've observed, things people have shared with me, things people confided in me, and things that are happening in the world. Uh,
Mhm.
I'm directly connected with everything in the universe because everything in the universe is within each and every one of us. You
Right.
know, and being empathic, I feel all of that.
Mm.
So I write based on how I see and what affects me, the world. You know what I mean? And that's the balance. You know what I mean? Because I'm not separate from those things. Those
Mhm.
things affect me, and we're all part and parcel. Of those things, and they're part and parcel of us. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah, I understand that. Me personally, I try to just the world is way too much going on in the world right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Sometimes you gotta pull back.
exactly. And so that's why I decided to go the route that I went with the erotic poetry because it gives the people a chance to like just be, to just, I don't know, imagine, to just away from the stress and the strife of the world and just to just be, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Sometimes I give up too much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like some of my poems. I know why Daddy liked the bar and stuff like that.
Yep.
That shit is real. Like rest in peace to my pops. I spit that for him.
Yes, yes.
I put that in his ear, and he told me he liked it, and I ran with it from then because, as long as he understood, I ain't out there trying to hurt you. I'm
Right.
I'm healing myself. You know what I mean? So I'm speaking on what really happened. A lot of my poetry, anything personal, I'm telling you my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm also purging because it's therapeutic. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
You know,
I understand that.
yeah.
All right, number 6. Are there any rituals or habits that help you get into the right mindset for writing?
Nah, nah. I
No,
get inspired off of something and I just go. You know what I mean? I'll
I
pull out
understand.
a pad on my phone and I'll just go.
I understand that because I do the same. Because
Yeah,
I write the poetry that I write, I pretty much just think about something from the past and I kind of embellish off of that,
yeah.
you know. So,
Now I don't sit down and burn sage and 17 candles. You know what I mean? What is
yeah,
the civilization and the wonderful are writing about our civilization? I don't do
yeah, that's too much. It's too much pressure.
first. You know what I'm saying? With the lights out and candles burning, I don't do all that. You know.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
I'm not one of them poets. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them cats. Like I'm an MC. You know what I mean?
Uh,
That's where I came from when it comes to spoken word. I came from hip hop. I'm a project kid. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. And that's just me. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I've been called, abrasive with my poetry. Some people love to book me. Other people scared of what I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? Like I don't want him to offend my people. Like it depends on what you have an ear for. But if you like the truth, you're gonna get that from me. You're gonna get my truth. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Number 7.
That's
Who are
deep.
who
Today's
I
mathematics.
know, right? Today's mathematics. What is today's mathematics?
God
Right?
with the true and living God,
Mhm.
So that's peace.
Yeah. Number 7. Who are some poets or writers that have influenced your work And in what ways have they impacted your writing style?
Wow. Okay. Well, like I said initially, my sister Sonia
Mhm,
Whittle, and then
mhm,
Talam and Faraji. Definitely. Abiodun is Uncle
mhm.
Dun. My son's name is Amiri, so that
Mhm.
should tell you everything when it comes to Amiri Baraka.
Yeah.
Had the pleasure of knowing that brother. You know what I mean? Got a lot of jewels from him.
Mhm.
Like I said, Uncle Dune or Abiodun or Yewili from the Last Poets, but that's Uncle Dune to me. You
Yes.
know, and just every poet that I've come across, like Kontiki XL, from my group Terrorist Syndicate, and of course Furious Lord, rest in peace, Furious. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Everybody in that clique, like everybody that I've run into, you know what I mean? Like Blue, Brother Earl, everybody, and
Mhm.
from here to the West Coast, like I got a chance to learn from all those poets because I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna listen to you. You know what I mean? My fam in Baltimore, my fam down in New Orleans, like anywhere I've spent time, Ayaba, me and him, we traveled all through Mississippi, you know what I'm saying, in New Orleans together. Jade,
Mm.
I've really been truly blessed to run into some great people, spend time with some great people, you know what I
They're
mean?
they are
And combine
great. I
minds
know I
with
know
people.
most of them. I know most
Yeah,
of them people.
you know,
We run the same
all things
circles.
fine. you know,
Mhm.
and Goma, my big brother, Jamal St. John.
Yes.
I mean, some great poets too. Like, it's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, yes.
You know.
Number 8. How do social issues and current events influence your writing?
Well, that's what the crux of my writing is.
Mhm.
Societal issues. Current events. Um,
Yes.
if something happens that affects me, I'm gonna write about it. Like I got songs about Eric Garner, songs about Zimmerman killing Trayvon, poems about 9/11, all crazy, especially through the height of that when that was happening. Um, a society is a group of men or groups of men for one common cause. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I'm a member of society. Anything that happens that affects us, especially the black family, and when I say black family, I'm talking about melanated people universally, like
Yes, yes.
that affects us. I'm writing about it because we're in this diaspora. We're the people that have been taken advantage, co-opted. You know what I'm saying? We've been colonized. Our culture has been stripped from us, and I'm watching people get paid off of it daily and live it out like they created it. You know what I'm saying? Like when they
Right.
football game and they talk about the Travis Kelsey cut. I'm a barber. That's a damn fade. What are you talking about? That's not the Travis.
You know what? I read that the other day and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
You know what I'm saying? They was talking about this is the Bo Derek style. She was biting
Oh,
African sisters with them braids in that movie 10. You know,
yes.
like cut it out. You know what I mean? Like I'm not with the vampire shit because whatever you create, that's for you, and that's great. Whatever floats your boat, but just don't dock your shit here. You know,
Mhm.
like don't try to take what we did and claim it for yours. And we share everything as a people. We some loving people. You know,
Yes.
we open the door and invite you in. Like, come on in. You could use my dishes. Just wash the plate when you finish.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah. I got to keep some comments to myself with that. Anyway, number 9. Okay, can you talk about a poem you wrote that you feel particularly connected to, and what's the story?
Okay. I mean, we can go back to I know why Daddy likes the ball.
Mhm.
Um, my pops passed in 2017. Me and my
Yes. My
divorced.
condolences. My
Thank
condolences.
you. My parents divorced in '77, and I was the man of the house, right at 7. This is what I was told.
Yes.
Like a lot of black children, black boys, and I grew up hearing my mother's perspective all the
Mm.
time. Like my pops, I had him on Sundays, and he did his best to be dad on that Sunday when he could. We
Mhm.
we lived close to each other, so we saw him a lot. But I didn't have like that male influence on the daily.
Okay.
And as the father of a son, I understand the value of having your father. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You into manhood, and not your mother's ideal of what a man is, right?
Mhm.
and the many ideas that go along to form an ideal, right? Because at the end of the day, that's her ideal man, right? And
Yes.
you know, I'm not here to be, the man you see. I'm here to be who I am, right? And my father could lead me in that direction. Like I never try to force Amiri to be anything I am. I just, teach him to be the best him he can be, empower and encourage him to be that, and give him the tools to handle life as a man. And he's
Yes.
20 now, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I,
Wow, he's 20.
yeah, yeah. And
Wow.
all the young man that he is right now, and you know, the closeness that we have,
Hmm.
is something I didn't have with my father. Like we were
Right.
all very close, and I love him, to life.
Hmm.
But certain things I just did not learn from him. I
Okay.
learned from hanging out with my friends and uncles and my friends' pops and stuff like that. And as an adult, I started to see him and understand him, especially after my son's, mom and I, separated. You know, I started to really understand things that he went through. You know,
Yes.
how that affected him, and I saw how I was not going to allow that to affect me in the same way. You know,
Okay.
I'm gonna continue to grow and develop. Some of us men, we have a breakdown. You know what I'm saying? And we just cope our way through life. And alcohol was one of his coping mechanisms. It was, you know, it was his go-to.
I
And
understand.
I can't let that be me. And for a while, I was smoking weed like, like it grew out of me. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You know, I ain't smoking 7 years. You know what I mean? I don't get high. You know what I mean? I'm not an alcoholic. I don't drink like that. Every now and again I'll have a social drink, but I can't really get down like that. So
Yes.
clarity that I have, you know what I mean, I love, and especially, leaving that weed behind, you know, I'm not foggy no more. I don't need that to right or wrong.
Right.
So, you know, especially having a record deal, you in the studio for like 10 hours, you burning down a half ounce.
Right.
Oh, studio. Like there are pockets of times during my times being signed, I don't remember.
Oh my
Shit
God.
happened on tour, different shows, people I met. I don't even remember. Like my former partner called me last night, reminded me of when I met Rakim, because that's my favorite MC. And I didn't know
Hmm.
that I met him back then.
Oh
And he
my
took me through the
God.
whole shit. And I was like, oh, that's right. You know what I mean? I thought I met him 2 years ago, when I was at one of his shows.
Hmm.
Crazy.
Wow. You are definitely an inspiration, babe. That's what I could say. You
Mm,
inspire me. You inspire all the the little babies. They are so fortunate to have you as their teacher, their professor, and I'm
uh,
impressed. I'm really impressed.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. But I think I'm fortunate to have y'all in my life.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Number 10. How do you feel poetry can contribute to healing and understanding in times of struggle? That's exactly what we just talked about.
Word. I mean, look, the poet, you know, is the griot. You know,
Yes.
he's not running around with his pockets fat. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Not running around with political power over people.
Yes.
He's running around with the power of the truth, and that truth can move mountains. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Power and its force. You know what I mean? It can force a stubborn mind to see the reality that's going on around him. It can force a king. You know what I'm saying? It can force, all the lies and stuff surrounding a ruler, a king, a president, or what have you to just
Yes.
and you can see them for who they really are. That's the
Hmm.
person that the king fears the most is the poet, you know, a broke, wordsmith that has no fear of telling the people the truth. You know what I mean? That's the power to influence the world. You know what I mean? If you can help people to see what's really going on, you can change what's going on.
Yes. And how do you feel about that? You feel you're making some kind of change? Well, with the children.
You're damn right. With the
Yeah.
children and people I come across on the daily, you know what I'm saying? Anybody who really appreciates my work, they appreciate the understandings that they got. People tell me all the time, yo, I never looked at it like that.
Right.
That's symbolic of the light turning on in their eyes. That's them
Hmm.
getting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit, I didn't see it that way. Now you do what you're gonna do with what you see.
Right.
Because once you see it, you can't go back to the same bullshit.
And go back to not seeing it once you see it. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. All right, number 11. What are some misconceptions about poetry or hip hop? that you'd like to address?
Well, one the reason I stayed away from erotic poetry. Let's go to erotic poetry, right?
Uh-oh.
The reason I stayed away from it is I couldn't find a metaphor to save my life in a lot of what I was hearing.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically just nasty talk, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people just being super, like open about whatever it is they do and very graphic in their words, but it wasn't being put together as a creative expression.
Right.
It was just like, I'm licking this, I'm sucking that, and it's like, whoa, like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
you know, if me and you sitting here talking and we about to get it in, that's some of the shit you might want to hear. But if we're at a poetry show,
Right.
a metaphor, I want to
Exactly.
through the words and see what you mean and go, oh, I want to get hit by it.
Yes.
Sit there and be like, after a while, it's just like I don't want to hear this. You
Right.
know, stop coming around to a lot of spots because people tend to get away from socio-political talk, you know what I mean, socio-economic talk, knowledge of self, people still ask me today, like, are you still on that black ish? And I'm like, of course I am. What are you talking? Am I still black? Like, what are you talking about?
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to get away from that. You know what I mean? Hip hop today, um, my group was different. I don't mind different at all. I encourage you to be different, like be original. But everybody sounds the same. It's all
Yes.
the same, concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Glorifying being a junkie. Like it was
Mm.
never cool to be a crackhead when we was young.
Right.
Cool to be super high, be on pills, do heroin, do all type. It's like, yo, anything that's out there, they gonna do, and they gonna rhyme about it, and they also killing each other left and right. Like that's not what this was for. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's not what this was founded to do. Hip hop, when it started, it unified the gangs and eliminated gang culture in New York. You know what I
Mm.
mean? The 5% was crazy in hip hop. The Zulu Nation, crazy in hip hop. The Nation of Islam, crazy in Black Panthers. Many social organizations was on the mic. You know what I mean?
Right.
Security in the spot, or thrown by, hosted by, community activist organizations were doing this thing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's what, I was protected in New Road. We had a bunch of gods and earths. We had a bunch of Fruit of Islam, bunch of Black Panthers.
Really?
Malcolm X grassroots movement, yes. New Rochelle was full of the movement. Farrakhan has a house in New Rochelle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's here. You know what I'm saying? And damn, like I remember people running me off the block when I was young. Like, what you doing here?
Mm.
Little kid, let me see your football. I'm gonna toss the football to you. You know what I'm saying? That every time I drop the ball, I'm gonna give you $1. If you drop it, you gotta give me the dollar back. I'm not dropping the football. That was my. I love football. I'm nice at football. I'm not dropping the football. So this is their way of giving me some money so I can play some video games and get some stuff out the store because I didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes, if I was out there doing wrong, them same individuals would cave my chest in and tell my mother. And then
Mm.
like, yeah, I heard what happened, that's good for you. And if it was bad enough, then she'll whoop my ass.
Mm.
It was that village, you know what I mean? And it was conscious and righteous people within that village that was leading the babies in the right direction. I
Mm.
wanted them babies.
Mm. Wow. I was very sheltered growing up. I was the youngest in my family, so my grandmother had me locked in the house. And when I went to high school, whew, boy, I was a beast when I went to high school.
Right?
So I definitely understand, man. It was. I had to learn. I learned a lot on the street because
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
learned from the street. I couldn't. What I learned from my parents is home stuff.
Hmm.
I went in the street and learned how to live and learn how to survive.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Grateful. Yeah, man. So, okay, how do you respond to criticisms of your work, and what insights has it given you?
I've grown. you know,
Yes, yes, yes.
at first it used to get to me sometimes because I'm just getting into this poetry thing. Like, let me do what I do. Or like hip hop was easy. Word
Yeah,
is battling.
right,
I mean, and if you can't see me on the mic, that's talk about me because publicly I'm gonna put you on display. You know what I mean? And the way we used to battle back in the days, you got to come off the top of the head.
right.
You know what I'm saying? If you nice, if you an MC, you can freestyle.
Hmm.
Rapper, then your shit got to be on paper. You got to memorize it. Somebody else could have wrote it for you.
That's what a rapper to me is like. Just an actor. I don't. I'm not a rapper. I'm an MC. You know what I mean?
Wow.
When it comes to spoken word, I was very sensitive about it because I'm just getting into it, and I'm trying to fit in, and all of a sudden I'm getting all these accolades, and so at first I didn't get a lot of negative criticism, unless it was just too black, too
Mhm.
intrusive, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm hurting too many people's feelings, you know what I'm saying? You know, but I also noticed that like I'm speaking on our issues, and white people were super thankful of what I was doing, and in some areas, some spaces, black people were afraid of what I was putting out. You know,
Wow.
remember at this particular school, I did a Black History Month show, and the white teacher came to me at the end of the show, and I did Timberlands and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I'm saying cracker and this, that, and the third, but I'm also in the beginning explaining what a cracker is and who the cracker was, because it wasn't just white people. It's not has nothing to do with your face being like a saltine. It was the crack of the crack of the whip, on our ancestors' backs, and it was a whole lot of black, overseers.
Mm.
Just tell you got black trustees, you had black overseers that'll whoop our ass to keep us in the field so he can live in the big house. You know what I mean? I was the master we sick, master our house burning dudes. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
practice it wasn't just white people. And I had this white teacher come up and thank me for the information, like, they don't get this in school. And some of the black teachers at that same spot went to the principal telling on me, calling me a racist. And they
Wow.
rebuked him real quick, like I'm the one that had him here. Like he ain't no racist. Get out of my office with that BS.
Right.
So that's the stuff that get to me is when our people treat me like I'm out here trying to hurt something, when I'm actually trying to heal something.
Right. I understand that. I just want to say how you was hanging around some real heavy hitters, Talam.
Word.
Oh my God, Talam and
Raji,
right, and who's the other one? Hill. And
Lamar,
Lamar Hill, oh my God, Lamar Hill scared me every time. Whenever I saw him, he scared the shit out of me. I'd be like, "Hey, Lamar," he'd like, "Hey, how you doing, Mona?" He used to scare the shit out of me.
yeah, no doubt.
But
No
he
doubt.
was a dope, dope, dope. I haven't seen him in years. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Number 13. Can you share a memorable experience from a poetry reading or performance?
So many,
Yes,
so
I'm
many.
sure.
Um, Dover High School in Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
teaching a workshop out there. And you know, we did spit a little 9/11 stuff, because I was still in the minds of people, but we were kind of beyond that now. And this young sister wrote straight out of her heart, straight
Mm.
out of her household, and what was in her household and what was lacking. And
Right,
broke down into tears, talking about herself. You know what I mean? What she's going through, what she struggles with, and just came and laid her head on my chest, you know what I mean, and cried. I just stood there holding her, and she just cried and cried and cried because not because she was sad, but because she was in touch with exactly what was bothering her because she got the chance to write it. You know,
right,
always tell you, write.
right, right,
You know what I mean? When those streams of consciousness come, no matter how scary it is, write it. You know what I mean? Because you're holding a mirror up to yourself and you get to see yourself as you are, not with the illusions that we put up, and our coping mechanisms, the masks that we wear out in life every day, like, yo, what's good? Yo, I'm good. Everything is cool. When it's really not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
when you get to shed that nonsense, and be butt naked in front of yourself, and accept who you are,
Mm.
that's the point in which you can grow. You
Mm-hmm.
and to see these young people approach that point where they're ready to grow and mature and excel,
Mm.
incredible thing. And I get to see that all the time. I had a child, we were having a conversation. One of my fifth graders, broke down crying right in class and was like, I'm just insecure. You know, we
Wow.
we doing a lesson using the Fat Boys. It's an anti-bullying and a self-empowerment lesson. And
Mm.
time when the Fat Boys changed their name from Disco 3 to the Fat Boys, and I used the scene in Crush Groove when they just came back from all you can eat, right? And then they sitting on the steps, and Prince Marky D says, we should write songs about stuff we like food. He was like, "What you mean? That's." They said that's whack. He said that's deaf and you know it. He said we fat boys who like food. And Big Buff said, "I ain't fat, man." Right? And
Mm.
grabbed his belly and was like, "Then what's this then, Buff?" You know. And then Mark and then Cool Rock Ski was like, "Yo, fat boys, that is kind of deaf, right?" He's like, "Nobody would call themselves fat because they decided to accept who they are, love who they are." You know,
Yes.
and they excelled after that point. We knew them as the Disco Three, right?
Hmm.
And they embraced Fat Boys. That's when that group blew up. You know,
Yeah.
and they get in movies and stuff. They took over Crush Groove. Like if you think about it, like they stole the show in Crush Groove.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Fat Boys had you crying laughing. You know, the scene when they get kicked out of biology lab. You know what I'm saying? Like I show that all the time. I
Hmm.
did that last year. We didn't do the steps, you know what I mean? But we jacked the hallway for the first and second grades, and I had all my classes in the hall spitting their joints. You know what I mean? Throwing on beats, they rhyming and everything. The principal came down, was like, "Why didn't I know about this?" I said, "Because this is how you gorilla a show. You know, I wanted you to be here. I'm so glad you see this." She was like, "I love this." You know what I mean? And this
Yes.
it didn't even, I didn't even have a classroom for that. When I left my classroom, my first grade class last year, I didn't even have a classroom for this. We just getting a classroom together. But now
Hmm.
studio and all types of stuff is getting ready to pop because of what these kids have produced. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't take credit for them. You know, it's just I guide them in direction, but this is what comes from them. You know, I might tweak their ideas and put it together in rhyme form, but you know, I'm a co-writer. This is their words. You know, this is what they thinking. You got
Mm.
we in the story like I got them writing stories. I got the kindergartners writing stories. Last
Wow.
Stepping Up song that they kicked at their graduation Stepping Up ceremony. The fifth grade did a graduation song that we wrote in class. You know what I'm saying? And the parents loved it, especially watching your kindergartners. You know, we are kindergarten, we are stepping up, and then they start rhyming, and then
Wow.
who's this? And they saying it, you know, they saying it like they own it, like it's them because it was them. You understand what I'm saying? My first graders, I had a song with them before I had anything to do with the music class because it's just what I do. When I'm
Hmm.
when I'm teaching foundations and we going through like, like vowel teams and stuff like that, you know, I'm beatboxing, you know what I'm saying, while we doing it. So it's like, how to go? AMG, ang, AMG, fang, ang, right? AMG, fang, ang. And they saying it to the beat and they
Yeah.
learning it. Their reading levels jump like crazy in our classroom with me and my co-teacher. Like we did our thing, and I know we all learn our songs as soon as we hear them. Nobody give you the words to the song. You hear it
Right.
once or twice, next thing you know the whole damn thing. So I use music to teach. You know what I mean? So my music class ain't about them learning how to rap. This is about them learning life. You know,
Wow.
know what I'm saying? And these are young, mature, children. Like my supervisor came to class one day, and my kids told him why the sky was blue and what made rain, hail, snow without earthquakes. They was like, "What?" You know, they noticed. Mr. Whittle, you taught them that? I'm like, "Yeah." Well, the sky is blue because it's a reflection of the sun off of the water. If not for the sun, then you look up, the sky would be totally black. They was like, "Yo, this is first. Where'd you learn that?" Mr. Whittle taught us that
Hmm.
because these babies deserve to learn everything they can. We teach the science of everything in life. You know what I mean?
Wow. Wow.
Who's that? Oh, stop playing. Stop playing.
That is so dope. Damn. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. I didn't know none of this about you. This is so dope. So dope.
That's cool. That's super.
Yeah, man. Number 14. How important is collaboration in your work? And have you collaborated with other artists?
Indeed. Just this weekend, you know what I mean? I did two collabos just this weekend, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
One of them in Rakim's son's studio up in Stanford, you know what I mean? Did
Hmm.
this guy from he's from the Bronx, but he live up in Connecticut. I did another one with a guy from Jersey just yesterday. On my album, I got me, my little sister, and Pooba doing one joint. Then I got ST Knack, you know what I'm saying, on another joint. My first album is me and Brand Nubian. This joint called Job Pretenders. You can check the video. It's out there. You know what I mean. That was back from 2013 when that came out. Um,
Yeah.
2017, Return of the God MC. I got Sadat on there and a few brothers from my hood on there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look on Spotify and all that other shit, it's me featuring on a little bit of everybody's joints, like Original Man on Jamar's album, me, Jamar, and Raekwon.
Wow.
It's just joints. Me and my brother '07, we got Aura on 10 is one that we running around spitting right now. We've been collabing for years. Yeah, collaborate.
Wow.
That's your network. You know,
Hmm.
network is your net worth. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And just to expand and touch people, lock arms, be out there for one common cause. All of us, we become a force. You know what I mean? And a force for change. You know what I mean?
Yes.
To show hip hop for what it's supposed to be, and with the industry falling apart, and with it being such an independent game right now, it's the perfect time, for us old vets to step back in here and show these young people what hip hop is, lead them in the right direction, let them take it, and let them take the mantle and do it right. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Young people. I got a young brother right now that
Hmm.
and he comes here like, this is my lab. You know what I mean? He comes,
Hmm.
he writes joints and I record them, and kick it with him. And I mean, like Jesse West did a lot of joints on my last album. I put him on one of West beats. You know what I mean? West did what was it? Step into a World for KRS. He did
Hmm.
Baby with for Biggie and Super Cat. Like, he's a legendary producer, and I got a young brother from my hood on one of his beats because he's nice and he deserves it. I let Wes know, you know what I'm saying, and I'm trying to introduce him to some people and let him do his thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this is.
Damn, that's so dope. That's real dope. All right, number 15. What do you believe is the power of poetry or hip hop in our contemporary world?
Again, it's the ability to make change.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vehicle by which the truth can be carried and disseminated to the people.
Yes, I agree. All right, and this is the last question. Lastly, what projects are you currently working on, and what can your audience look forward? What can this audience look forward to in the future?
All right, so I just finished. I just dropped in July my new album, The Crown.
Mm-hmm.
You can find that on Bandcamp. Some dope collabos on there. 2 months before that, I dropped for promotional use only Volume One, a mixtape that's produced by Iron Sheik from Wu Tang. Um, he did most of the joints on there, and the God Infinite, who was a producer and DJ from my first group in Vizzy's when my first record deal, when we put out Haagen-Dazs and when we wrote for Salt and Pepper back in the day. Uh,
Okay.
he produced a couple joints on there. And what was dope is for promotional use, I jumped on the I Ain't No Joke beat, the Fiends beat, Microphone Fiends. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I jumped on the No Half Stepping joint, but like I said, we was in Rakim's son's studio. You know what I mean? So I let him hear Microphone Fiends, and then I let him see the video for No Joke, and he was like, "Yo, damn, yo, like one, you murdered that shit, but two." It's like, when people do a tribute joint or they recreate a song, they try to take the flow of the artist before. He was like, yo, you dropped your own flow and hurt that joint and just use little snips here and there of my pops to, just for me to show him some respect because I'm on his track and
Right.
Ram see. So, I used a couple of little formats of his, like what he said, I don't need a cigarette, know what I mean? I switched that up from nicotine to I don't need a cigarette, know what a nigga mean, just like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I know this is your joint. I'm not claiming that. Like, even with me being like the album Return of the God MC, I got the title The God MC from the 5% Nation. I didn't call myself that. Rob my favorite MC. Why would I say that? That's the God MC. But I am the true and living God, and there's many gods on the mic that's dropping this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which makes me a God MC. And for the nation to dub me that, it was
Mm.
me to use that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Wow.
Like the album Ghetto Messiah. It was
Uh-huh.
a poet who called me Ghetto Messiah from the start,
Mhm.
learning from me. This, a sister did a painting of me, Ghetto Messiah, like what that meant to her. And it was me with a saxophone spitting words through the saxophone, healing the hood. It was
Wow. Do you
the
have that piece? Do you have that, or you have it?
house. Hell yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would like to take a picture. You gotta take a picture of that. I would love to see that.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. Man, thank you so much, Kasim.
Nah,
You know what you mean to me, man. Um, can you tell everybody where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram as Kasim Allah 7, KASIMALLAH number 7. I'm Kasim Gerard on Facebook. I think it's Cas all day on Twitter or X. I don't really be
Mhm.
on X a whole lot, on Twitter a whole lot, but
Right.
I'm there, and you can find me as I think Kasim Allah on TikTok. You know,
Mhm.
I'm finally using TikTok. Got a lot of video snippets and reels up there on there. You can check them joints out. TikTok has been a great vehicle to
I'm
show.
gonna check them out. I'm gonna check them out today. Matter of fact, when I get off, I'm gonna check all your stuff out over there.
You could YouTube me. You know what I'm saying? Kasim Allah. Just Google me. A whole lot of
Oh,
stuff.
I could just go to a show and see you at a show and
I come to your crib. It ain't like you can see me. You know what I mean? You might.
yeah,
That's easy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But real talk, like you could Google my name, Kasim Allah,
Mm.
KASIMALLAH, and you can find a whole lot of what you're looking for. I'm in the source in a bunch of different magazines, and you know I'm out there. I'm out there.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much, babe. It's so good to see you. It's always good to see you. Thank
Thank
you so much for sharing your at this hour with me,
you.
and we'll talk soon because
Yeah,
I might need your voice soon on something that I'm working on.
you got my math. You know what to do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Uh, You have a good day. All right. Have a good night. We'll talk soon.
thank you. Love you.
All right, honey. I love you too. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with Mona B. I'm so happy again, I'm happy to see y'all. And Thursday, I also have my show on a radio station called Without Warning Radio.com. Yeah, without warning radio.com, not without warning with a G, warning, without one ebonic, without warning radio.com. So I hope to see you. That's Thursday at 6 p.m. Okay. So I hope you guys had a great time hanging out with me and Kasim. And I'll see you guys again next week, Monday, same time, same station. See you soon, guys. Have a good night. Bye. And that's a wrap for today's show, y'all. Thanks again for tuning in to Uptown with Mona. Be sure to join us again next week for another exciting episode. Until then, I'm your host, Mona Baudet, and I'm saying peace and love. Have a wonderful day.